Greetings, students. This is Mrs. Lancaster, and I will be doing all the lectures and PowerPoints for you during this class, so I probably won't introduce myself every time. But today we're going to talk about Chapter 1, what is project management. The unit outcomes for this, the reason I give you the unit outcomes is because it ties back to the course outcomes. And you need to understand why you're learning this stuff and how it relates to the overall course and why it is important. So the unit outcomes for this chapter are to understand and discuss the difference between project management and process management. You'll be doing that in a discussion post. To recognize the key motivators that are pushing organizations to project management, and to identify the competitive advantage that project management provides. Projects have become the best way for organizations to achieve competitive advantage. The reason I say that is because without projects and the organization that it brings to the table for bringing products to market quickly can't be done without a good project management structure within an organization. Projects, unlike repetitive tasks, have beginning, a process, and an end, and they have a specific purpose. So if you were in an organization a few years ago, before globalization became so important and before companies were on the global scale, things were not as competitive as they are today. And organizations that manufactured, for example, would go along manufacturing the same item over the course of maybe several years, and they weren't running to develop new projects or new products. So they would do repetitive tasks. Everything was set up, the manufacturing line was set up, and they just did repetitive tasks. A good example of that is a place like Campbell Soup. They package soup in their warehouse. After they've made it, they have a process of making it. They can it, they package the cans, and they store the cans, and those are repetitive tasks. Until they come out with a new label or a new product, a new formulation, they are simply going through process management, which are repetitive tasks. However, if they were going to produce a new type of soup, then they're going to want a project for that because the end product is a new product. And they're going to want it to have a beginning and an end, the beginning of when they start testing in the labs, and the end is when the new product is ready for sale. So that differentiates between project and process management. But the process management will continue once that new product is come to market, then it becomes a repetitive task again. So you're going to find both in businesses. Projects are the principal means of changing the world. Think about Apple computing, how they have changed the marketplace. Apple comes out with a new phone or a new product about every couple of years. I think they've just come out with iPhone 11, and I'm sure there'll be an iPhone 12. But they will be continuing the process of creating iPhone 11s while they have a project going on that is to produce a new product. And so projects have been the way that companies come fast to market, are efficient, cost-conscious, and customer-focused. They have committed themselves to project management as a competitive tool. Projects have finite parameters. Their purpose is to fill a customer's requirements, whether internal or external customers. All of us have come to expect new products on the market quickly. Everything today that's manufactured has built-in obsolescence. We expect them to break down or stop, or a new, better washing machine, for example, to come out. And we don't expect to have things 30 years like we did back in my parents' day. Project management has become one of the most popular tools for organizations to bring products to marketplace quickly. Projects are tools for innovation because process management, like we said, is repetitive. But projects bring on new things and new thinking. Projects go beyond traditional organizational boundaries. They are cross-functional. Traditional organizational boundaries still exist within companies. And a company can be, there. You're going to learn about organizational structures in Chapter 2. But companies can be cross-functional and have projects or be totally project-oriented. But you're still going to have functional areas like accounting, manufacturing, human resources, operations. Those are functional areas that companies are going to have. Generally, they have one supervisor over all the people in those areas and then sub-supervisors and so forth. But when you start working on a project, you are going to be bringing people from all those functional areas under a project manager. Now, it depends on the organizational structure, how that's going to work. Sometimes people have to work for their functional area boss as well as a project manager. So it just depends how the company is set up, whether it is totally project management and they become a member of a team and are no longer part of the functional area, or whether they report to two bosses. Project management allows quick-to-market products, like we talked about at Apple Computing. It allows quick response to expanding opportunities. So, if you see a need in the marketplace for a new, take for example the pandemic. People were developing and are still developing new things quickly. Ford Motor Company began producing ventilators. Well, that is not a repetitive task as far as getting it up and getting going. It had to be a project. It had a finite beginning and a finite end. And the process in between was actually to figure out how to retool their manufacturing plant to produce ventilators. And then the repetitive task or the process became producing those ventilators. But I know you all noticed how quickly they were able to come to market with those ventilators. So they have been successful, but they have been successful in the fact that they have met the customer's demand. But definitions of project success are hard to pin down because there are lots of ways to measure success in a project. The older triple constraint that we'll be talking about included time, were the projects done in a timely manner? Did they come in on the deadline? And for ventilators, for example, and masks and so forth, they definitely have. Budget, how much did it cost? Was the project completed within budget guidelines? Now, that's something we haven't talked about. We don't know what their budget was, and we don't know what the cost has been involved to get those products to market. Then performance. The projects are developed in order to adhere to some initially determined technical specifications. The mask, the N95 mask, had to be right. I had to have all the filtering and everything is involved in making sure the mask was secure. And of course, the ventilators had to work, and they had to work quickly. So we would have a quality check to see about the performance of our project. So like I said, this is called the triple constraint, and you can see the figure on 1.7 on page 16 of your text. So the old triple constraint, time, budget, and performance. But the new quadruple constraint is client acceptance. Client acceptance is perhaps the most important thing in the world, and as far as projects go. You think about Apple computing one more time. If nobody buys their new iPhone 12 that'll be out in a couple of years, then they haven't met the customer or client expectations, and their project will have failed. At times it was thought that a company had to choose between these three things. And for their process management, they had to be on budget, but maybe they couldn't bring new products to market because of it. But now with projects, they were able to meet all of those constraints and fulfill everything within time, budget, performance, and customer satisfaction. Now, there are many qualities that a successful project manager needs to exhibit. In this course, you will be writing a job description. I don't remember if it's this week or next week, about a project manager and the skills that they need to have to be successful. Because you notice they're going to be working with cross-functional people, maybe people they haven't had on a team before. A person that comes from accounting may be doing their budget. A person that comes from HR may be working as developing the team. You're going to have people from manufacturing because they're the ones that are going to be ultimately producing the new product. So he or she must have good communication skills to work with all these cross-functional people. You need to have good critical thinking skills and to be able to think on your feet. Also, you need good collaboration skills. You're going to be working with a wide variety of people from different functional areas. And you got to be able to successfully collaborate with everyone and bring the team together. Because you're responsible for a budget, the timing of a project, the performance of the project, the customer satisfaction, as well as the people on the project team, a project manager needs good moral and ethical compass. And then to be able to apply their knowledge to various situations. You don't have to be an iPhone engineer to be a project manager, but iPhone engineers are often the project managers because they're most familiar with the project. But they've got to be able to apply their knowledge to various different situations and to the functional people that they have working on their project team. Now we go back to the front, look at our unit outcomes. So we've discussed the difference between project management and process management. The key motivators are competition and bringing products to market quickly for project management, and the competitive advantage that we have with project management by being able to bring to market quickly new and different products. All the materials from this and all my lectures came from your textbook. The text is brand new, and it's got a lot of very new things in it from when I've taught project management before, so I'm really excited about it. If you haven't bought your book yet, you need it. You must have it. The assignments are given to you by page number in your syllabus, and you'll need the text. If you go to your syllabus, you've got the ISBN there of the book. You can get it through the bookstore. You can buy it online. And I also would point you to the e-text, which I gave you the link for, because it's cheaper and you can rent it for the semester. That is what I use, and I like it because I'm able to bookmark my pages, highlight, and biggest thing is to search. If you're looking for something in a chapter to answer a question, you're able to search the book quickly and find the part that you read and maybe you have forgotten exactly where it was. So I'd encourage you to look at that and get your textbook as soon as possible. So that was chapter 1. Hope you have a great week. If you have any questions or problems, be sure and reach out. Have a great